Okay, I want you to picture the scene. It's June 4th, 2010.
A Friday morning.
Yeah, a Friday. We're in rural Northwest Portland at Skyline Elementary School. And it's one of those, perfect sunny mornings where summer feels like it's just around the corner.
And the school is just buzzing. It's the day of the science fair.
Exactly. So right in the middle of all that energy, you have this 7-year-old boy, Kyron Horman.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just beaming.
He really is. I mean, if you've seen the photos from that morning, he just looks so happy. He's got the shaggy brown hair, his glasses, that classic gap-toothed second grader smile.
He's standing right in front of his project about tree frogs, I think it was.
Yeah, red-eyed tree frogs. He was so proud.
But there's a detail in that photo, the detail in his outfit, that once you know the story, it just sends a chill right down your spine. It's haunting.
You're talking about the T-shirt.
The T-shirt. He's wearing a black T-shirt with CSI written in big, bright green letters.
And it has a handprint graphic on it, like a forensic handprint.
It's just devastating. A little boy wearing a shirt celebrating crime scene investigation.
Literally minutes before he becomes the center of the largest and I think most baffling criminal investigation in the history of Oregon.
And that's exactly what we're unpacking in this deep dive, the disappearance of Kyron Horman. It's a case that, on its face, it feels impossible. It's like a locked room mystery.
Except the locked room is a public elementary school filled with hundreds of kids and teachers.
Right. We've gone through the police files, the legal affidavits. We've even looked at the transcripts from those Dr. Phil interviews.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And we're going to try to understand how a 7-year-old boy can just evaporate.
And evaporate really is the right word, because usually in these cases there's something, a witness, a scream, some kind of struggle, physical evidence. Here there was just silence.
So let's get into the timeline, because the timeline is, well, it's everything in a case like this.
Okay, so it's about 8:00 a.m. Kyron gets to school. He's not dropped off at the curb. He's with his stepmother, Terry Horman.
Right. And Terry, for context, she's been a big part of his life. She and his father, Kane, are married.
And they're just walking around the science fair together, looking at the different projects. Everything seems completely normal.
Until 8:45 a.m. The bell rings. And this is the moment the clock starts ticking, but nobody knows it yet.
This is the critical moment. Terry states that she watched Kyron walking away from her down the hallway toward his classroom.
She says goodbye, watches him go.
And then she turns around and she leaves the building. That is the last time she claims to have seen him.
And Kyron, he walks down that hall, and he never, ever makes it to his class.
But here's the kicker. No one knew. His teacher just marked him absent.
Maybe she figured he went home sick with Terry or had an appointment. But this is 2010. The school didn't have those automated calls that, blow up your phone the second your kid isn't in their seat.
Exactly. So you get this huge gap, the lost 6 hours, as investigators called it. From 8:45 in the morning until school lets out, Kyron is gone. But the entire world just assumes he's safe in his classroom.
So let's fast forward. It's 3:30 p.m. This is that moment that is every parent's worst nightmare. Kane Horman and Terry are at the bus stop.
The bus pulls up. The doors hiss open. Kids start piling off.
But no Kyron.
You can just imagine the panic setting in. They ask the bus driver. He hasn't seen him, so they call the school.
And the school secretary delivers that gut punch. Kyron wasn't in class today.
The 911 call doesn't even go out until 3:56 p.m. By the time police are on the scene, that trail has been cold for over 7 hours.
7 hours. I mean, if this was an abduction, that's an eternity.
Yeah.
The person responsible could be states away by then.
Absolutely. The window is gone.
So the search begins. And I think when you hear Portland School, you're probably picturing like a suburban block.
Yeah. Manicured lawns.
Right. That is not Skyline Elementary.
Not even close. I mean, the school is right on the edge of the city, but it's surrounded by this incredibly deep, dense forest. We're talking steep ravines, thick underbrush. It is very unforgiving terrain.
They launched the biggest search and rescue operation in Oregon's history.
People came from Washington, from California. They had cadaver dogs, planes with thermal imaging. The school basically became a command center. They even put up that wall of hope on the fence outside.
The fence with all the flowers and teddy bears and notes.
Yeah. But despite all of that, the dogs, the tech, the hundreds of volunteers, they found absolutely nothing.
Wait, nothing.
Not a shred, no backpack, no glasses, not his CSI t-shirt. I mean, usually if a child just wanders off into the woods, you find something.
A shoe. A piece of clothing snagged on a branch.
Exactly. The complete lack of any physical evidence. It told investigators one thing loud and clear.
He didn't wander off.
It was taken.
And this is where the dive gets really dark. Because once they ruled out Lost in the Woods, the entire investigation it pivots.
They stopped looking at the landscape and started looking at the people.
And that spotlight landed right on the last person confirmed to have seen him.
His stepmother, Terry Horman.
It's standard procedure, right? You always look at the last person to see the victim.
Of course.
Yeah.
But with Terry, the scrutiny didn't just stick because of the timeline. It stuck because her story, well, it started to fall apart pretty quickly.
Okay, let's unpack her alibi, because this is where it gets really strange.
So she tells police that after leaving the school at 8:45 a.m., she just drove around those rural West Hills back roads for hours.
Kind of reason.
Her infant daughter was in the car and she was sick, and Terry said the motion of the car was the only thing that would soothe her.
Which, I mean, on the surface, every parent has done the drive to nap routine, and it sounds relatable.
It does. But in a missing persons investigation, your story gets checked against data. And Terry's data just did not match her story.
What do they find?
Cell phone records, location pings. They show she actually went to a gym during that time. She was there for over an hour.
Hold on. If you have a sick baby who needs constant motion to stay calm, you don't generally park the car and go work out for an hour.
It's a huge contradiction. It begs the question, why lie about going to the gym unless you're trying to cover up something you did during that time?
And it wasn't just the gym. Kyron's biological mother, Desiree Young, who has been just a force of nature fighting for her son.
A total lioness.
She later revealed that there were witnesses who contradicted Terry's entire timeline from the school.
That's right. Desiree claimed that 4 separate people saw Terry leaving the school grounds with Kyron.
That changes everything if he left with her.
Then he never walked down that hallway alone. The whole story about him disappearing from inside the school could have been a complete fabrication.
So the police, they really turn up the heat. They bring in the polygraphs. And now, I know, before you yell at your phone, polygraphs aren't admissible in court. They're not magic.
They're not. They just measure stress responses. But as an investigative tool, especially early on, they're huge for ruling people out.
So Kyron Horman, the father, he takes one.
And he passes.
Yeah.
Desiree Young, his mother, takes one. She passes.
In Terry.
Terry fails 2 separate polygraph tests. And when they ask her to take a third one, she gets a lawyer and refuses.
And that, right there, that was the breaking point for the family.
Almost immediately. Within weeks, Kyron Horman files for divorce. But it wasn't just a divorce filing.
No, he also filed for a restraining order. And the affidavit, the legal document explaining why. It is absolutely chilling.
It is. He states in plain language that he believes Terry is involved in the disappearance of his son.
The judge grants it, bars her from owning firearms, and eventually forces her out of their home. The entire family unit it implodes.
But this is where the story takes a turn that, you just don't see it coming. You think you're investigating a missing child.
And suddenly you're in the middle of a murder-for-hire plot.
This was the bombshell that turned a local tragedy into a national obsession. During their investigation into Kyron, the police uncovered evidence that Tara had allegedly tried to hire someone to kill her husband, Kane.
To kill Kane, Kyron's father.
Yes, and the timing is what's so critical here. This alleged plot happened about 6 or 7 months before Kyron disappeared.
So let me get this straight. Before the child goes missing, the stepmother is already allegedly trying to put a hit out on the husband.
That's what the police uncovered. Now, to be clear, she was never criminally charged with this.
Right up.
The hitman was their landscaper. He went to the police, but prosecutors felt they just didn't have enough to secure a conviction. But the police took it so seriously, they actually went to Kane and warned him his life might be in danger.
Wow. That just fundamentally changes how you view the suspect. If someone is capable of allegedly planning their husband's murder,
then the idea they could harm a stepchild to get back at that husband, it suddenly doesn't seem so unbelievable. It speaks to a pattern of, problem solving through elimination.
Terrifying. But police didn't think she was acting alone, or at least wasn't the only one with secrets. We have to talk about her best friend.
Dita Speicher.
Terry's his gym buddy and gardening friend.
Right. And this is where the timeline gets even more suspicious. On the day Kyron vanished, Dedra was supposed to be at a gardening job.
Supposedly.
Exactly. Because it turns out she was unaccounted for, just gone from that job site for about 90 minutes that morning.
Let me guess when that 90-minute window was.
It overlaps almost perfectly with the time Kyron disappeared.
Oh, come on.
And it gets worse. Police found evidence that makes that gap look very, very suspicious.
Burner phones.
In the suburbs of Cortland, you have these two friends communicating on prepaid disposable cell phones.
For anyone listening, just explain why that's such a massive red flag.
Well, because regular people don't use them. People planning crimes use them. You buy them with cash. You use them for a specific illicit purpose, and then you get rid of them. It implies premeditation. It implies they knew they needed to communicate in a way that couldn't be traced.
So police raided Didi's house. Did she cooperate?
Not at all. She pleaded the fifth, refused to answer any questions to avoid self-incrimination.
So let's just lay it all out. You have a stepmother with a failed polygraph, a busted alibi, and witnesses who say she left with the boy. You have an alleged murder-for-hire plot against the father. You have a best friend with a 90-minute hole in her alibi who's using burner phones with the prime suspect. This sounds like case closed. Why has she never been arrested?
And that is the absolute tragedy of a nobody homicide. Without Kyron's body, you have no crime scene, you have no cause of death, you have no forensic evidence physically linking Terry to the act itself.
So it's all circumstantial.
It's all circumstantial. And prosecutors, they get one shot at this. If they take Terry to trial and a jury says reasonable doubt and acquits her, she can never be tried again for this crime. Double jeopardy. They're waiting for that one piece of hard evidence.
So the case goes cold, but the story doesn't end. In 2016, 6 years later, Terry goes on Dr. Phil. And this was just bizarre.
It was a total PR disaster for her. She went on national television, supposedly to clear her name, but she just lashed out. She blamed the school, the police, she blamed Kane, and then she went after Desiree.
The real mom comment.
It was chilling. She looked into the camera and said she was Kyron's real mother because she'd raised him, and then told Desiree, the woman searching day and night for her missing son, to get a grip.
Get a grip.
The lack of empathy was just, it was astounding. It really reinforced the profile the police had of this detached, narcissistic personality.
And we can't forget the sexting scandal that came out around that same time.
Right. I mean, while the search for Kyron was still active, while volunteers are combing through the woods for a 7-year-old boy, she was allegedly sending sexually explicit messages to one of Kane's high school friends. It just paints a picture of someone completely disconnected from the reality of the tragedy.
So bring us up to today. It's 2026 now. It's been over 15 years.
Terry has remarried. She's Terry Vosks now, lives in Nevada. Desiree is still searching, still holding fundraisers. She never stops.
Is there any actual hope for a break in the case?
There is. There's always hope. Recently, Multnomah County elected a new district attorney, Nathan Vasquez, no relation, by the way, and he specifically campaigned on a promise to revisit this case.
What can he do now that they couldn't do back in 2010?
Technology. DNA analysis has taken light-year leaps forward. They can pull profiles from traced evidence that would have been invisible 15 years ago. And digital forensics. They can potentially recover data from old phones and hard drives that people thought were long gone.
So we're waiting for science to catch up to the secrets.
We are, and we're waiting for someone to talk. There's still a $50,000 reward out there.
You know, a reporter, Maxine Bernstein, she called this investigation the Iron Man.
It's so fitting. Early on, the sheriff's captain said this case wouldn't be a sprint, it would be a marathon. But after 15 years, it's an Ironman. It's just this grueling, exhausting, endless race.
But the family is still running.
They are.
And you have to remember, at the center of all the legal drama, the burner phones, the failed polygraphs, there's just a boy. The kids who stood next to Kyron at that science fair. They've graduated from college by now. They're starting their careers. Kyron is frozen in time. He's still 7.
And someone out there knows why. That's the part that keeps you up at night. Someone knows exactly what happened to the boy in the CSI shirt. And secrets. They get heavy after 15 years. Maybe heavy enough to finally drop.